Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling fans worldwide, Andre Corbeil, your official TNA Impact Wrestling, OneWrestling.com reporter. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to OneWrestling.com and your 2015 TNA Impact Wrestling Slammiversary Anniversary Recap Results Report Review, whatever you want to call it. Welcome to the show. I'm glad you joined me. I am Andre Corbeil, your official TNA Impact Wrestling OneWrestling.com reporter for the legendary icon Bill Apter. Yes, the face of OneWrestling.com and a whole lot more, but I'm going to put the brakes on and digress. Yes, as I said, Slammiversary is my favorite pay-per-view from Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. You have the surprise every year of who indeed is going to be the next induction of the TNA Hall of Fame. And we got a special surprise this year, a long-awaited return of the King Mountain match, King of the Mountain match. And yes, many of you over the past few years since they took it away have had discussions with me on social media networks such as Andre Corbeil, OneWrestling.com, Wrestling News Talk, the Facebook fan page, and at Andre_Corbeil on Twitter, wanting the match to return. And TNA answered our wishes, our prayers, wherever you're coming from. So, yes, thank you for joining me, everybody. It's June 28th, Slammiversary, the 13th year of this Total Nonstop Action Wrestling company and this gala event. Now, we're going to roll into the 2015 Slammiversary event with our first match, which was for the TNA X Division title. We had DJ Zema Ion versus Manik versus Tigre Uno, with commentary tonight that was done by Josh Mathews and Mike Tenay and the Pope Daddy. So, we had DJ Zema, who was actually a force tonight in the ring. He really stood out to me in this X Division contest. But Manik and the champ, yes, Tigre Uno, looked great as well here, as there was a lot of back and forth throughout this match. Action inside the ring, action outside the ring here at Slammiversary. And ultimately, in a nutshell, cutting it short, fans, it was Tigre Uno, yes, who picks up the win, retaining his title after eliminating DJ Zema, yeah, with a split-legged corkscrew moonsault for the 1, for the 2, and for the 3. Good match. And that's the rating, wrestling fans. Now, our second match here at Slammiversary was indeed the explosion, the breakup of Robbie E versus Jesse, now the man Godderz. Yes, former Bromance tag team members. Now, Jesse Godderz was peppered throughout this match with "You Suck" chants from the fans in attendance at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida, in a match that was, to be fair, decent, but could have been quite a bit better. But Andre Corbeil is going to digress on that, and at least one thing's for sure here, and clear, fans, to the casual fans now, that Robbie E is indeed a face with his new look in tow. Now, Jesse Godderz is running full heel mode here with that, let's just say, narcissistic loose cannon kind of short fuse gimmick. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to chop it up, cut it up, and maybe a little bit of the narcissist Lex Luger and Chris Masters blended into one. I'm interested to hear your opinions, what you think in this current twist and change with both of the former Bromance members, as they're going on single runs now with twists to their characters and fresh takes on that as well. So again, I'm very, very interested in hearing your comments and letting us know at OneWrestling.com what you think in that regard. Now, like I said, this match was decent and ultimately went back and forth with a little ref action sprinkled in between there. When Jesse locked on the Adonis lock near the end of the match here, but what ultimately happened in a nutshell, keeping it short here, fans, Robbie E, yeah, he counters and hits an inverted DDT for the win, and the 1-2-3 out of nowhere. So, again, I guess my overall rating on this would be decent, but could have been better rating. Now, our third match here at Slammiversary 2015 was indeed a hardcore match between the returning Matt Morgan versus Bram, and honestly, it was nice to see my friend, the Blueprint, back in the ring, who battled hard against the psychotic Bram tonight with cookie sheets, garbage cans, that ultimately saw Morgan on the verge of victory, but Matt grabs a chair to incorporate it, and it backfired on him, and Bram used it to his advantage. Yeah, he hits Matt Morgan in the yam bag, we'll call it, and ultimately nails Matt Morgan, the Blueprint, with the DDT finisher right on that very chair that Matt Morgan had brought in. So it could have been a different result if Matt would have not gone that route, but that's water under the bridge and a story for another day or possibly another match. But at the end of the day, it was great seeing my friend back. I'm going to reach out to him and try and get maybe a phone interview, maybe a Can-Am Wrestling Show appearance, something. We'll see, and I'll make sure it's in the works. Big Ray and I have a double surprise coming from the total world of total nonstop action wrestling on the Can-Am Wrestling Show in the coming weeks, and even a global force surprise for you wrestling fans tuning in right here at OneWrestling.com. So be patient, keep your ear to the grindstone, and your eyes peeled. Anyway, I digress on that. This was a hardcore match, and ultimately, yeah, Matt Morgan lost. Hit with the chair, bam, 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 thank you, ma'am. Decent match rating at the end of the day, 1-2-3 victory. Now we're going to roll into our fourth match, which was Austin Aries versus Davey Richards, with the winner getting to pick the stipulation for Wednesday's Tag Team Title Series finale at Impact Wrestling, Bell to Bell. Yes, that's next week, or this week, coming up on Wednesday on TNA Impact Wrestling, as this match slowly got better and better and better and better until ultimately we got sideline interference from none other than the It Factor of professional wrestling and fellow Canadian Bobby Roode. Yeah, shout out Peter, who ultimately came down, ran down, got on the apron, tried to distract, and ultimately led to Davey Richards' partner, Eddie Edwards, Wolfmate, coming down, making the equalizing save here, with Aries ultimately taking advantage of that very distraction, rolling up Davey Richards for the 1, for the 2, for the 3. Yeah, unfortunately for Davey Richards, but he's tough. He's adverse, and he'll live to fight another day. Very, very good match rating is what I give this match here at Slammiversary 2015, and you gotta like that. Now our fifth match of the night was the ladies. Yes, it was a Knockouts Tag Team Handicap match with the 3 members of the Dollhouse versus Brooke and Awesome Kong, who I ultimately thought would be able to overcome the numbers advantage here versus the Dollhouse at the end of the day, but that's not what happened here, wrestling fans, because in the end, Kong, who grabs Taryn to pull her into the ring, but it didn't happen. Marty Bell got involved, made the save, and it allowed Taryn Terrell to roll back out to the floor here. Now, Kong ended up chokeslamming Marty Bell for getting involved and being in that spot, leading to Brooke, who climbed up with Jade and slammed her as well with the BABYFACE maker for the win. Yes, your winners, Brooke Booty Tessmacher. PG site, and I'll keep it that way. Brooke Tessmacher and the dominant Awesome Kong. A decent match rating here at Slammiversary. Are we seeing a pattern, wrestling fans? Comment below, and as I said, I'll be interested reading your comments and seeing where your heads were at, where your analysis lies on Slammiversary 2015. Now we're going to roll into our 6th match of the night, which was basically a continuation of the Cowboy James Storm versus Magnus. Now, some really have liked this feud. I have, and some haven't. I personally like this feud, and Magnus and James Storm, they had a wicked match here at Slammiversary tonight that saw cowbells, tables, barricades, chairs, and ultimately at the end here, a double beer bottle smash as both delivered one on each other right in the center of the ring. And for the fans in attendance and at home, both men really smoked each other hard here. This was a nice spot. And yeah, James Storm, he was pretty lucky here, fans, because Storm, luckily, he fell on Magnus, leading to the 1-2-3 win here at Slammiversary 2015. Now, throughout this match, they ended up getting some, we'll call it fluid, all over the place, and it really, really wreaked havoc on the sound system, but I'll get to that very, very soon. I'm going to give you guys my match rating here on this match. Match of the night, in my opinion. Was it match of the night for you? Yes. Magnus versus the Cowboy James Storm. Now, this was match of the night at Slammiversary, and that's my rating. I'm interested to hear what you guys think pertaining and relating to that and the outcome of this match and your opinions. Now, after the match, crew members helped Storm and Magnus out of the ring as they went to replay. Now, TNA had quite a few numbers of technical difficulties going on here. Issues, as we saw the crew cleaning up the ring on camera with the audio all over the place. Now, I gotta point out, I work for RCW Wrestling. I'm the current commissioner. I used to be the ring announcer and commentator. It's moving on up like George and Wheezy, putting in your effort and trying to rise up in the ladder, and that's what I'm doing, and it looks like that's what I've done as the commissioner of RCW Wrestling. And I will tell you guys, the reason why I brought that up is ring cleaning happens quite often. You have sawdust after these hardcore matches. You have blood. Another factor is the wrestlers, they oil up their bodies. It highlights their physique. It looks better under the lights for the overall presentation of the product. So the ropes get full of oil. Sometimes the mat is really oily. And like I said, sawdust, blood, this and that, that and this, especially after hardcore matches. It's not uncommon to see this happen. But these difficulties continued. The ring crew stuck there cleaning up the mess. There were audio issues as well that lasted around 7 minutes on a noticeable level, like an extremely noticeable level, and then little random glitches, so on and so forth, throughout the telecast. Hey, that's what happens when you're shooting live television or pay-per-view television, whatever you want to call it. Now we're going to roll into our 7th match of the evening, which is the one percenter Ethan Carter, EC3, and his bodyguard, Tyrus, aka Brodus Clay, Monstrous BC, versus Mr. Anderson and former TNA World Heavyweight Champion, the Destroyer, Bobby Lashley. Now, TNA were still having issues with the audio, and it even came into play when Ken Anderson came in for his mic drop at the beginning and at the top of the rampway there. And these difficulties prevented his usual promo from Green Bay, Wisconsin to happen. Now, Josh Mathews noted after that and said that they're going to do their best to provide the best commentary throughout these issues and technical difficulty. Now, back to the match in a short nutshell here. We had Bobby Lashley, who ended up hitting a suplex on Tyrus, who later on grabbed him while the referee wasn't looking. Now, Tyrus slammed him, and Ethan took over here, and Tyrus tagged in after that. Now, this match was above average and was good enough to garner a decent match rating, as in the end, in a nutshell, Tyrus gets taken down, double shoulder tackle here, but ultimately he counters it, taking Lashley and Anderson out at the same time. Now they go on, and the end comes when EC3 hits the one percenter finisher on Bobby Lashley for the 1-2-3 win here, and that's who goes over in this match. And it was a decent match, maybe above decent match. Now we're going to roll into our 8th and final match of the evening. Yes, our main event, the returning Slammiversary staple, none other than the King of the Mountain match. And yes, the returning founder, Jeff Jarrett, going to be inducted in the TNA Hall of Fame. It's great. and it's right. Nobody deserves it more than Jeff. Hey, heck, him and his father are the founders. And speaking of that, Jerry Jarrett should be a member of the Hall of Fame as well. Only seems natural, right, fans? Anyway, I digress on that. Yes, our 8th and final main event match, the Return of the King of the Mountain match, and the TV title as well, which will now be known as the King of the Mountain title, in a penalized-based reverse ladder match, for wrestling fans that don't know, where you have to earn eligibility to climb the ladder via pin, and the goal is to climb that ladder and hang the title instead of taking it down. But you can't do that. No, not before you send someone to the penalty box after hitting them with the 1, 2, 3 pin. And yes, they're penalized for a few minutes. Now that's the match, the grounds, the boundaries in a nutshell for the fans that don't understand the King of the Mountain match. Now, Jeff Jarrett, Matt Hardy, Bobby Roode, Eric Young, and Drew Galloway were all in this match, and was really happy to see this TNA staple match return in its fitting format, its spot at Slammiversary. And right off the hop, Jeff Jarrett, he was pinned twice early here, and this gave EY the first ultimate chance of hanging the title, to no avail, wrestling fans. Now, also, I want to add something that I forgot to mention, that Jarrett had said earlier on in the night, that if he won this King of the Mountain match, that it will open up relations between TNA and Global Force Wrestling on a global level. Now, rolling on, we then had Roode and EY serving time in the box at the same time, and it's no secret, best friends, bitter enemies, arch rivals. Yes, what happened? Something I didn't see coming, but in war, strategy and battles, sometimes you mend the fence, as both of these men, they made truce with each other here, but it didn't last for long, with EY, yeah, basically kicking Bobby Roode, and maybe he should have held it longer, maybe they should have had this truce going on for a little bit longer, but that's not what happened, and I digress. Now, rolling on furthermore and forward in this match, keeping on the Eric Young tip, this was one of the sickest pile drivers I've seen in quite a long time. Yes, as he pile drived Jeff Jarrett from the apron on a ladder that was positioned on the apron and on the guardrails. So he had Jeff Jarrett up in the pile driver position, and he had to jump back a foot to deliver the pile driver on the rungs of the ladder. It was sick. If you guys can find the footage, it's worth it to see. It was really, really sick. Ultimately ending when Roode and EY both end up jostling for the title possession, with EY on the verge of winning, but out of nowhere, yes, the King of the Mountain, the staple, the founder, none other than the chosen one, Jeff Jarrett. It was his time, it was his destiny at Slammiversary 2015, the 13th anniversary of Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. Hey, hey, hey. Yeah, he gets to the top with that title in hand, and the chosen one hangs the title. The founder of Global Force Wrestling, the founder of Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, now has a TNA title in his possession. What's going to happen here? This is a lot of speculation worthy, and that's good within the world of professional wrestling, to have fans talking on the edge of their seat, guessing, and not being able to predict everything that's going to progress. But there's a lot of coincidence, wrestling fans, a lot of extreme coincidences happening all at once. Now that's a story for another day. But back to this match, Jeff Jarrett, your winner. It was a really, really, really good match, and this is Jeff Jarrett's time and his destiny, as I said. Now, whether he takes the title of the Global Force or is actually obligated to defend that title within the confines of Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, or indeed both promotions, time will tell, right? Also, this This makes the chance of the cross promotion, even a merger, but that's lots of speculation, and that's not what we do here. Anyway, if I was going to give this this pay-per-view an overall rating, I'd have to say that it was consistently above average, and there was some great moments, some great matches, and there were some subpar matches within this pay-per-view. Now, I'd have to give this pay-per-view a 7 out of 10. And it's not the best Slammiversary that I've witnessed, and I've witnessed them all, but all in all, this TNA Slammiversary 2015 was above decent and deserves a passing grade from this OneWrestling.com reporter. My name's Andre Corbeil. I do this for each and every one of you guys, tried, tested, and true, right here at the home of the legendary icon, Bill Apter, 24/7 wrestling news, OneWrestling.com. No dirt sheets here, credible wrestling news, and hey, thank you for tuning in, everybody. My name's Andre Corbeil. We're all in this for one thing, wrestling. Take care. Thanks for tuning in. Slammiversary was pretty darn good, and man, I'm tired. Man, I'm tired. On the road with RCW, and I must have put 1,000 clicks on my caddy this weekend, so it's off to bed, 7 a.m., up and early, bacon and eggs, and off to work. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Andre Corbeil. I love y'all. Take care. Peace. Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling fans worldwide, Andre Corbeil, your official TNA Impact Wrestling, OneWrestling.com reporter, right here at the home of the legendary icon, the one and only Bill Apter. Yes, wrestling fans, we'll see you at the matches.